Hello everyone, welcome back to one more session for the discussions of set theory. In this session, we will discuss about a small confusion that occurs when we discuss about the elements and subsets. So let us take some examples and go into the subject. Now, if A is a set containing the elements P, Q, R, in that case, we can write as P belongs to A. Similarly, Q belongs to A and R belongs to A. But these elements separately taken cannot be called as subsets, because subset first of all must be a set. Here I am taking an element. So elements cannot be considered as subsets. First thing. So if I consider a set of P and P belongs to A. See, I have taken a small set here. This set contains P and that set itself is called a subset because P belongs to that set. P belongs to this subset, right? P belongs to the set. The same P also belongs to A. So by definition, if an element belongs to the first set, also belongs to the second set, then the first set becomes the subset of the second set. See, one more example, let us take Q. Suppose a set of Q. Consider a set of Q. So, this is a set containing the element Q. So, Q belongs to this set, the small set. Correct? Q belongs to the small set. Same Q also belongs to A. See here, Q belongs to A. So, again by definition we can say that this one, which is that the set which contains Q is a subset of A. So, these two sets are subsets. So, we can write it as set of P is a subset of A. Similarly, set of Q is also a subset of A. Similarly, you could try with R. See, R belongs to A. So, R is not directly a subset of A. But if you had a subset containing R, only R, then that subset, that small set becomes the subset of A because R is also present in that set, R is also present in A. Hence, that small set containing R would be a subset of A. Now, let us have a look at few more examples. Let me call this set as B. B contains maybe B, C and D. Now, let us try to see what all are the elements and what all are the possible subsets. So, elements being B belongs to B, C belongs to B and D belongs to B. These are the elements. These are the three elements in that. Now, what are the possible subsets? See, by the notes that we have discussed earlier, we have some important results. Two important results were there. First one, null set is the subset of every set. No matter which set you are taking, it is a non-empty set, then null set will be a part of it. So, null set is a subset, one thing. And every set is a subset of itself. Suppose I take set A. Set A is a subset of set A also, right? So, these two things, like for B itself, B, C, D, if you take together, that itself is a subset of B. Clear? So, let us first write those two. First, what is that? Null set is a subset of B. Also, B is a subset of B. But in these two cases, only thing is here it will be a subset, whereas this one will be a proper subset. Now, we have discussed in proper subset that the number of elements in a proper subset will always be lesser, surely, strictly less than the superset or the main bigger set. Here what happens when I say only subset, not proper subset, only subset, there is a chance that it can be equal also. Clear? Now, we know only two subsets standard for all the sets, right? Now, other than this, let us have a look at which all subsets are possible. I'll make a list of all possible subsets. I'll give them names like B1. I'll use the subscript 1, 2, 3 just to show that they are subsets of the same set. B1, I'll start with the definition itself, that is null set is a subset of every set. So B1 is a subset of B. Another possibility is the singleton sets of B. I'll take one element, that is B. So this itself is also a subset of B. How? Try by definition. B, small b, belongs to this set, first set. Small b also belongs to the superset B. Then the first set becomes the subset of the bigger set, right? Now B3. Let us take another singleton set. What is that? B is over C. I'll take C. Say this is a small set containing C. The same C is also found in the bigger set, that is B. Means the smaller set is a subset of the bigger set. So C is a subset of B. Next, similarly B4. B4 is equal to, what is that next one left? D. D, the set containing D is also a subset of B. So till now we have got 4 of them. Let's continue. B5. Now singleton sets are over. Single elements one by one I took and it's over. Now let us go for elements more than one element. Let us take 2 elements at a time. Okay, all possibilities we will check here. So first I will take B and C. So there is a set containing B and C. Look at the elements. This set contains B and C, but both are from B. Means this is a subset of B. What about the other possibilities? B6 is equal to, I will take B and D this time. B and D. Yeah, both of them also belongs to B. Means this is a subset of B. What is the next possibility? B7. This time I will take C and D. Okay. Set of C and D. Again, these 2 elements are from B. That means this is a subset of B. Right. And then coming to B8. The last one but not the least one, that is the second note that we had noted down. What is that? Every set is a subset of itself. So accordingly, if I take all the 3 elements now, B, C, D. Look at all the 3 elements. They also belong to B. Means this is a subset of B. So these are the total possibilities of subsets for this given set. How many are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There are 8 subsets possible for this one. So let us take few more examples and if possible let us generalize the number of subsets. Is there any relation between the number of elements in the set and the number of subsets possible? Let us try out. From our previous discussion, we have seen how to form subsets. Now let us take different sets and try to find the subsets for those. Now I will be taking sets with different numbers. See, when we talk about the number of elements in sets, we call it as cardinality of the set. Cardinality means the number of elements in a set. So let us talk about cardinality first. It's a very simple concept, but we should know how to write it properly. Example, if A is equal to X, okay, set of X. How many elements are there? Only 1. So this implies the number of elements in A. We write it as n of A. We read it as number of elements in A. Number of elements in A is equal to 1. Observe here, we don't put brackets for this. This is not a set. This is a cardinal number. So next, if I have B is equal to P comma Q, in this case, what is n of B? There are 2 elements, so simply 2. And this is not an element that we are writing. That's why we don't put brackets to it. It's not a set. Okay. It is the number of elements. So it is a number. C. Root 2, 3 root 3, 5 root 6. These are the elements in C. So there are 3 elements. So what do you write it as? Number of elements in C is equal to 3. I hope you got the gist of it. Let's take one more example. D is equal to, I'm not writing anything inside. What type of set is that? This is a null set. So in that case, what is the number of elements in D? You guessed it right. See here, if it's 1, we write 1. Nothing means number of elements 0. However, be very careful that if the set contains 0, example here, A set of 0. Set of 0 does not mean null set. Means 0 itself is an element and it is present there. That is there. So, we will write number of elements in A is equal to 1. This is one thing where most of the students get confused, that 0, they think here also it should be 0. No, 0 itself is an element. Okay. For example, one more confusing thing is this. We have used that symbol for null set, right? Empty brackets means null set. Phi means null set, correct? But when you write one inside the other, when your null set is written, like phi is written inside the brackets, then it is not a null set. Here, a letter from the Greek alphabet, so you cannot call it as a 0 here. Number of elements will be 1. See the difference. If it's only open brackets like this, number of elements is 0. If I write it only the phi, then also number of elements is 0 in the null set, empty set. But this is not an empty set. If you write phi inside the brackets, then it is not null, then it is a singleton set, and so number of elements becomes 1. So once you have got a hang of this cardinality, number of elements, we can just go further connecting the number of subsets with the number of elements. However, remember one thing, all of these sets must be finite sets. For infinite sets, we cannot write the cardinal numbers because they are uncountable sets. Okay. Now, since we have discussed about the number of elements in a set as well as how the subsets can be formed of a given set, now let us try to combine both and see what is the connection between the number of elements as well as the number of subsets possible. Let us try to see the connection between them. Okay. So, if I take a set A here, okay, set A with elements null means number of elements in A will be equal to 0, right? Because it is a null set, number of elements is 0. In that case, what are the subsets possible? I'll call the subset with subscripts 1, 2, 3 like that. A1 is itself a null set, or I can also write it as null set using 2 braces without any elements in them, right? Now, this also is a subset of A because null set is a subset of every set. So, by itself also. So, this is the only one subset which is possible, which is A1. So, what are the number of subsets? I'll write it here. Number of subsets possible. Number of subsets. What is the number of subsets? Only one subset. Only one subset. Now, if I had one more element in that set, let us see what happens. I'll take another set here. Set B. Let it have one element. I'm taking element as sine theta. Okay. Elements can be functions also. Okay. It need not be always a constant number. Can be a function also. I've taken here sine theta. Okay. Sine theta is a element here. Now, if how many elements are there? Number of elements in B is equal to 1. This time the number of elements is 1. In that case, what are the subsets possible? Okay, one of the subsets is, as usual, null set. Null set is a subset of every set. Okay, so one subset I got. Another subset. Every set is a subset of itself. So, the sine theta what you see itself, that singleton set, this itself is a subset of B. So, these are the only two subsets possible. So, what can you say? The number of subsets is equal to, that is 1 and 2. So, 2. So, there is a connection. We will derive that later. Just let us take 2 or 3 examples so that we can arrive at that conclusion that there is a connection between the number of elements, the cardinality of a set, and the number of subsets. C is equal to, I'll take x comma y. Okay. Now, what is the cardinality of the set? The number of elements in set C is equal to 2. Okay, in that case, if these are the 2 elements, what are the subsets possible? The first and foremost subset is null set. Of course, null set is a subset of C. Then second one, I'll start with singleton sets possible. What is singleton set possible? We have already done this, so let's go a little quickly here. So X is a singleton set possible. Then Y is another singleton set possible. Set of Y, this is another singleton set. That is also a subset. See, these are all proper subsets, but the last one is a subset, not a proper subset. The last option always. C4 is equal to set of XY. In the previous 2 problems, I have not written it as subset, I have written proper subset, but it's better if you write it as subset of C, because this is also equal. This subset is as you can see, it is a subset because the elements X and Y also belongs to C. By definition, C4 is a subset of C by definition. At the same time, you can also say it is equal also. So it is a subset as well as equal set. So together you can write it as subset with an equal to sign together. What about this? This is a proper subset. This is just a subset. So these are the 4 subsets possible. What I can say is number of subsets possible is equal to 4. Again, there is a link there. Let's go for one more example, and with that probably we can arrive at a conclusion. I have taken set D, which is equal to PQR. So the number of elements in set D is equal to 3. In that case, let us go with the possible subsets. D1 being null set, as usual, we start with that. D2, singleton sets I'll start. P, which is a subset of D. D3 is a singleton set Q, which is a subset of D. See, those who understood, you can continue. Before we can continue with the video, you could just pause the video and continue with the answer and then just verify with the video. D4, however, is equal to R, which is a singleton set again, which is also a subset of D. And D5, which is equal to, now singleton sets are over. I'm going to take 2 elements at a time. PQ, I'll take P, Q, subset of D. Then D6, I'll take next 2, that is Q, comma R, which is a subset of D. Then D7, I'll take P and R, which is P, comma R, which is a subset of D. And taking 2 elements is over. Now going for 3 elements at a time, that is D8. Or the second note or the result which we use, that every set is a subset of itself. So PQR, PQR is a subset of itself, but this is also equal, remember that. So these are all possible subsets. So the subscript itself denotes that there are 8 subsets. So you can say, therefore, number of subsets. The number of subsets is equal to 8. These 2 numbers, they are connected. Now if we continue in the same way, you can see that if I write it down, you can understand better, I suppose. Of A and number of sets, sorry, number of subsets of A. Okay. If we make 2 columns, one giving the number of elements in the set, given set, let's call A, and then number of subsets of A, both of them. This is what we see. In the first case, when it is 0, we find here 1 subset, right? This is what we have seen in the video. Now, if the number of elements is itself 1, then we found there are 2 subsets. If the number of elements was 2, here we found 4. If this was 3, we found it 8. Let us see what's happening. Let's observe. See, as the number increases here, element 1 by 1, here what we find is the number goes on doubling, right? So, if the trend follows, what will happen next is, if this is 4, this becomes 16, right? So, if this same pattern continues, what happens if it is 5? This will be 32. So, this will continue. This is called a geometric progression. If we try to write the terms of this in a general form, what we will see is, this is nothing but 2 raised to 1. This number is nothing but 2 raised to 1. But using indices, if you have to write 4 in powers of 2, it will be 2 to the power 2, right? Similarly, 8 can be written as 2 to the power 3, because I am multiplying 2 for every number. See here, 4 2s are 8, 8 2s are 16, 16 2s are 32. That's how it continues. So, following the trend, this becomes 2 to the power 4 and 32, 2 raised to the power 5, and this continues. Now, if you observe this number, I have not written anything. Following the order in the reverse, let's go for reverse engineering. So, 2 raised to 2, 2 raised to 1, what is this? Of course, 2 raised to 0. 2 raised to 0, anything raised to 0. When the base is not equal to 1 or 0, at that time anything raised to 0 is 1. So, now, see the connection? See that? Isn't it the same number that you are seeing here? Right? So, if the number of elements is 5, then the number of subsets is 2 raised to 5. If the number is going to be x here, then here 2 raised to x will be the number of subsets. So, generalizing this, we can write, if this also I will remove, I will directly write here, if there are n elements in the set, then 2 raised to n is the number of subsets possible for such a set. Now, note down, if n of A is equal to some n, where this is number, this n indicates number of elements in A. This n is a natural number I have taken, a number which is taken. It has to be natural because number of objects cannot be fractions always. So, this n has to be, remember, this n must and should be from natural numbers. Okay, this must be from natural numbers, and if n of A is equal to n, then we can say the number of subsets of the same set A of A is 2 raised to n.